Welcome back to another edition of the 60-Man Show. And today we got breaking news out of Phoenix and Houston, where Kevin Durant has officially been traded to the Houston Rockets in exchange for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the number 10th overall pick in this upcoming draft, and 5 second-round picks. This is a trade that was something that was in the months in the making. As after being canned from making the playoffs, the Suns were. It was from instantly known that Kevin Durant's tenure with the Suns would be over. And as a few weeks, finalists were down to the Spurs, the Rockets, and the Miami Heat. And well, Kevin Durant is officially going back to Texas, but to the Houston Rockets. For the Rockets, this is a nice little trade for them, as you acquire a huge upgrade to your offense, and upgrade in an area that you were kind of lacking in consistency last year and in the postseason, alongside Alphonse Goon, which was Jalen Green. Actually being Kevin Durant, who's, we all know, one of the greatest scorers of all time. So you automatically upgrade in that department. But also, you really don't lose much. You don't give up that much like I was maybe expecting. You give up probably the most valued asset amongst the three teams that you could get individually in Jalen Green, as the upside and what he can be is evident, and that's one of the better guard scorers in the league. That's if he just hones in and just got to work, which he hasn't been able to show much of. They got that. They traded away that. But as far as the Rockets themselves, losing Jalen Green don't really hurt him to me. As Jalen Green was an obvious weak link in this past postseason, failing especially in the second round. No, in the first round, where he would have struggled to just crack 10 points, let alone 20 points. It was evident that I felt like they needed to make a change there, and they did. They also get rid of Dillon Brooks, who, although he has his positives with his defense and his somewhat leadership, his antics can while you think would help the team, it also just gets in the way of the team, because most times this trash talk actually helps the other team play better. And you give up the 10th overall pick, which the Rockets didn't really need to use for real, because they already have a boatload of young assets. And if you bring in another guy, this could create more of a logjam. And you give up 5 second-round picks. You don't give up any future firsts. Just a bunch of second-round picks, which, of course, second-round picks have been proven time and time again to be very, very valuable assets in building in roster construction. However, if you're able to keep your future firsts in exchange, I would much rather have that than keeping seconds. You know what I mean? So I think Rockets come out here in this trade huge winners. And also you keep a bunch of the young assets like Jabari Smith, Cam Whitmore, and Reed Shepherd. Guys that I thought were going to be, at least one of those guys were going to be involved in this trade due to the value that they could have to a team like the Suns, who are kind of in a bit of a limbo in what they are trying to do for the future. Whether that is keep Devin Booker and ride it out with him and see where it goes, or just completely blow it up and just start a rebuild. But no, they didn't give up none of those guys. So you acquire Kevin Durant, who will come in and provide an instant boost to the offense and provide consistent scoring that was lacking next to Alfred Sengun last season, and especially in the postseason. You also keep depth. You also keep the much-needed depth with Jabari Smith, Cam Whitmore, and Reed Shepard. Guys you can either keep and continue to try to develop, or you can use in a separate trade if you really want to. So for me, I think the Rockets come out here with an A to A+ grade. You can't really get much better than that. However, on the opposite side of things, for the Suns, I'm not that impressed, to be honest. I mean, like I said before, you did come out with the best individual value in terms of player you could have gotten in return amongst the three teams that were finalists in Jalen Green. However, when you look at the team he's going to, who has Devin Booker and Bradley Beal already, I just don't like how that sounds in terms of the offensive fit, right? I mean, Devin Booker and Jalen Green have very kind of similar games in a way, where they both need the ball in their hands to score and be effective. And well, when you go into the Phoenix Suns, we all know it's going to be the Devin Booker show, and rightfully so. And what comes with Jalen Green is he's not that great of an off-ball guy to put next to a Devin Booker to succeed. Jalen Green needs the ball in his hands as well. And I just don't love that mix. Unless there's some more moves to be made this summer, whether that's the Suns getting rid of Devin Booker, which I don't expect to happen, or they have a trade in the works to flip Jalen Green to another team to get back more assets. Which if they did that, then this trade will make a little more sense, but only time will tell on that. You bring in Dylan Brooks, who is a great defender, but his antics can really get in the way of the team success at times. But he was going to be involved in a trade no matter what, for Kevin Durant or even a Giannis if that was the case. But obviously, now that's Kevin Durant, because Dylan Brooks has the contract to make the money match. You bring the 10th pick, which it's good value. I mean, it's a lottery pick in a draft that has decent depth, nothing crazy though. Or you could probably look to use it on a guy like Igor Dimin, a big man like Thomas Sorber, or if one of the other big men fall somehow. But not getting any other first round picks kind of stings a little bit, right? Because not to discredit second round picks. Second round picks have shown time and time again that they can be very valuable assets and roster constructions. However, only getting one first round pick, period, is a bit absurd to me. I was expecting maybe 2 or 3 total, with that being the 10th pick this year and some future picks, whether they be protected or unprotected. I was expecting at least that, and maybe like a couple of seconds, not 5 seconds. You know what I mean? I just felt like they could have gotten a little more in return for Kevin Durant. I'm really just focusing on Jabari Smith Jr. for real, or Cam Whitmore, guys that have been who have potential to be something if given another bigger chance on another team that isn't as crowded like the Houston Rockets, especially in the front court and the forward spots that they play at. So for the Suns, I'd give this trade with the package in return like a C-, C. I give him credit for I do give him credit for bringing in the best individual asset, but everything else about the trade I don't love. I was personally kind of on board with the Spurs, but we are where we are now. Kevin Durant is officially a Houston Rocket. And the Suns now have a bit of a complicated situation on their hands. Do they try to do they try to see if this duo of Devin Booker and Jalen Green can somehow work? Do they look to trade Jalen Green to another team to get back more assets in return to maximize the Devin Booker era, what's left of it, and maybe try to do that with that? Or is this a sign that they might be looking to end the Devin Booker era in Phoenix? That one I'm not so sure. I'm not as confident about because Devin Booker is Mr. Sun, Mr. Phoenix over there. He has been there since 2015 through the ups and downs. He is Mr. Phoenix Sun. And it's like a situation where, unless he requests a trade, I will be very surprised if he were to get traded. So, but we've seen bigger surprises in this league's history. So who knows for real? But this leaves the Suns. But this recap, this boosts the Rockets into more of the true contender mode. Because now you got Kevin Durant, and when you have Kevin Durant, no matter how old he is, whether he's in his prime or not, your expectations rise as a result. But for the Suns, it brings a question of what's the future for the Suns. Whether that's with Devin Booker and Jalen Green, whether that's with just Devin Booker and you trade Jalen Green, or does this tell a sign of maybe something of a new era in the works? Well, only time to tell. We're just on the brink of the official start of the offseason, with Game 7 of the NBA Finals happening tonight, and with the NBA Draft happening in just a couple of days on Wednesday night. Things will only get a lot more juicier from here in terms of the NBA offseason. But that's all I got for today. This has been my instant reaction to the Kevin Durant trade. Seeing him go back to Texas and playing for the Houston Rockets. But that's all for now, folks. Until next time, peace out.